Sorry guys, we've got a few sound issues tonight, as you might have gathered. We're with you shortly.
Yeah, I can hear you. Got game sound on the stream as well.
Check.
Yeah. No, I came through on stream.
Sorry, ladies and gents, bear with us. We are getting there.
I can hear you.
Right, and ladies and gentlemen, I think we're with you. Apologies for all the mess about at the start, and apologies if the sound quality is not up to what it should be, but we'll play with it while we're carrying on. Anyway, first lap, you can see De Grasser leads Cahonen, Pavlicek, Haas and Arella. And I'll leave you in your capable hands of my co-commentator Ethan Keeley, as always, while I try and have a play with the sound.
Yeah, so thanks, Martin. Yeah, obviously, sorry guys that we haven't been able to be with you. Just to give you a rundown of what happened, I'm pretty sure you will noticed it anyway. Nemanja is not taken to the grid or has had an incident off the start. I couldn't quite see from where I was looking. Bendersley looks like he's had a bit of an incident at turn one, and I believe Nigel Wood is looking at a jump start penalty, so we might see him coming in the next couple of laps. Welcome to round 4 of the DTM 2020 Championship at Suzuka. It's been lovely to see you the last 3 times out, and obviously we've got 4 more after this, where hopefully we'll have some better sound and a few less issues. You can see here, who is this making a look up the inside of Korhonen? Pavlicek. Yeah, so we've been talking about the obviously the story of the championship so far is very much TSR Sweden versus the Intense Racing duo of Pavlicek de Grasse. Sadly, Magnus in the second TSR car has had to drop out of the championship owing to personal issues. However, Tom clearly looking to make a statement. He was fast in practice. I believe he had the fastest time and ended up at third in qualifying. So making a leap on Pavlicek there. But very much looking to take the fight to, well, Pavlicek and Korhonen having a fight anyway, as we see De Grasser starting to stretch those legs that we see him often do. And obviously we can see again, we've got that kind of everybody splitting up a little bit already. But we've got that big battle pack in the middle from 7th down to, well, from 6th down to about 19th. See a few guys really close here. Hoffman making a move around the outside of, who is that, Schilling, through the kink towards Spoon, and not quite making that one stick. See Pavlicek trying to get a run as well up on Honan into 130R. He won't do anything through there. That would be a bit brave, especially on lap 2. But might see a move here into the triangle, but keeping it safe. Obviously got a long way to go. Still got 51 minutes of the race remaining, and obviously everybody got to make a pit stop, which will happen about halfway. Not a mandatory stop in this series, however, mandatory due to time.
Thanks, mate. I'll stop playing around with the audio and just try and get what we can out of this, and hopefully it'll work. Apologies again for the sound. Thanks, Ethan, for covering for me there, mate. So, where are we? De Grasse leads, obviously, from Kohonen, Pavlicek, Haas, Arella, Bergsma, Fabian Gied up into 7th, Simmons there in 8th, Magyar 9th, Jim Britton 10th, Camaletto 11th, Cassell 12th. Mark Schilling carrying his good performance there up into 13th at the start. And down the back, as Ethan, I just heard him saying, Nigel and Nemanja having a few incidents. They're right near the back. But up front, as always, Damien de Grasse.
I believe Nigel has actually potentially served his thing now as well. So that'll be why he's a long way off the back of the field.
Suzuka looking glorious as always. There's de Grasse.
He's about doing this in R3. You don't get rain or anything like that.
Never rains at Suzuka. What are you on about? So de Grasse up to the chicane through there, takes both curbs well and onto the straight. His lead is already 3 seconds back to Radek, who's now past Kohonen.
Kohonen having a sloppy bit of a mare at the Cassier Triangle as well, so maybe a pass through 130R unsettling him a little bit.
My headphones just telling me they're pairing. That's handy to note. Oh, lovely. Everything exactly as it was 2 weeks ago, and now nothing works. Wonderful. So anyway, de Grasse, Pavlicek. Let's go on board and have a look where Tommy is back here. You can see Pavlicek in front of him, just going up over the hill past the S's, up to Degner 1, and through there, runs just onto the AstroTurf, through Degner 2, under the bridge, up to the hairpin they go. You can see behind Tom is Max Haas. We haven't spoken about Max much in this series, apart from his exploits in a couple of races before. But he's been pretty quiet this series, Max. But he's up into 4th, Arella 5th, Bergsma up in 6th. Again, and Andre's one that's been suffering so far with a bit of luck this season. He's up in 6th. Fabian Gied in 7th. Magyar 8th, Britton, Camaletto and Hoffman. That's where it's all happening back there. Let's go and have a look at those guys for a second.
Turn me up, mate. Apparently they can't hear me on the stream.
They can't hear you. Awesome. Okay.
Well, they can hear me. It's just very low.
It's like I've done it on purpose, isn't it?
Almost. So Nemanja messing around with setup and missed his call to go to the starting grid. Didn't realise how to do a pit lane start in R3 without getting DQ'd and got DQ'd. Good job, Nemanja. To be fair, it's pretty tricky if you haven't done one before.
Can you just give us a ping, please, in YouTube if you're watching this and you're watching the stream? Can you hear the game audio okay?
Game audio is pretty low too.
Thank you, sir, in the chat. That's a bit of a help for me. I can see the bars are quiet, but for some reason... something just happened. I don't know what just happened, but something happened.
I assume that is Nemanja in the chat.
Oh, there we go. I think I've got a bit more sound off you now, Ethan. That's good news. Thank you very much. So there's Ralph Arella, just chasing down Max Haas. Tom Cohn in front of them from Pavlicek, and leading is De Grasse, now 3.5 seconds ahead. Further back in the field, Tobias Hoffman. But the hairpin, Camaletto in front of him, and Jim Britton in front of Jack.
We've also got battling Magyar, Fillingham, Schilling, Locken, Britton and Cassell all trying to fall over each other. At the moment, Locken really tight up on Schilling and Schilling right up on... Fillingham right up on Magyar. See, actually, looks like Cassell has run wide a little bit. Sorry, Locken run wide a little bit, and Cassell looking to try and stay on his inside through 130R. Nothing doing there, and Cassell backs out of it down towards the chicane.
So Hoffman through behind Camaletto and Jim Britton through the chicane. Down the straight they come into turn 1. That's Britton. Camaletto staying right behind him. Hoffman getting right up the tail of Jack there, just trying to get a look into turn 1 and through turn 2. Further back in the field, that's Dusan Magyar ahead of Simon Fillingham. Schilling just behind them from Britton, Lecken and Erasmus Cassell, as Ethan was just telling you. So you've got those 3 up there, and then this train of 6. There's a gap back then to Andy Simmons, Ivan Rizov, Binnersley struggling down in 19th today after his good showing yesterday with RWB, 4th in the GT4 race there. Nigel Wood down in 20th, Elio Fernandez, Hindle, Pelicano, Stenica and Manojlovic look like they've retired from the race. Stenica.
Yes, Stenica, I believe, is a retirement due to damage or something race related. Nemanja was messing around with his setup just before the race started, and didn't realise that it was time to go to the grid, so got our traditional 20-second penalty. And went a bit early and got disqualified, having not had to start from the pit lane before in R3E. Kind of just assumed it was the same as ACC and paid the price a little bit for it. So, to be fair, well done to Nemanja for going so many starts with RRLeagues without getting one of those penalties. You only get a minute to faff around before you have to go to the grid. So it's not like you've got a long time. And, sorry, excuse me, obviously mistakes can happen. But, yeah, unfortunately, he retired that way. You see, is that Britton going all the way over the inside of the final chicane? He's going to have to give up some time, and indeed he's actually given up a position there to Locken to rectify that, and looks like Cassel's going to get a run on him as well. Good bit of fair play there from Britain. These guys weren't actually ahead of him, but he did make a rather mess of that, so he's redressed the time. And I hope we haven't seen anything pop up, so no drive-through for him. So clearly giving up that time that he had gained. We've got Hoffman all over the back of Britain still, haven't we? Further on up as well. Something we've been noticing throughout practice, because we were paying attention even though we weren't talking to you, is actually in these cars with the amount of downforce on them, it's really hard to follow all the way through the S's and up through Dunlop. You see here Hoffman looking a little bit towards the inside, won't obviously do anything through that flick, try and get to the inside through the hairpin and make contact. Britain squirming around trying to get on the power, but manages to keep it to the door of Hoffman. Lose that a little bit around the kink, and that should be a fairly complete pass there for Tobias. Through down into Spoon, and yes, indeed keeping that position.
Nice bit of racing there for the two of them. Hoffman making his way through the field, past Camaletto, now past Britain up to 8th. Britain not giving him anything back though, because
Britain won't let him have that, and Jim will happily go to the outside and pinch him down into 130R here, and actually, yeah, it looks like Hoffman has actually given that one up. Jim with a lot of experience on his head, got the wrinkles to prove it. As you see, late move there from Tobias down into the chicane. Clearly Britain not happy with that one, and they've made contact, and Hoffman round into the barrier. And Jim giving up a position to Camaletto and possibly to Magyar as well for this. See what Hoffman a long way back now from
Hoffman into the pits actually, so I don't know if that was how he spun out or if he's coming down for his change. He is coming down for his change. Just showing that, because that was a good little battle there. Jim seemed to carry a lot of speed up towards 130R, but they were very close coming through the chicane. I thought actually that Hoffman did well there to get through and just got caught by Jim, so that's a real shame.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything malicious there at all, but definitely an unfortunate set of circumstances. And yeah, Hoffman as we see, who's that? Magyar went well off Degner 1, and looks like he's hit the wall on the outside there, now making his way through the gravel trap and trying to rejoin it. Degner 2 as Binsley comes around. Oh god, that was close. But yeah, then Britain kind of half following him off. And issues for Britain as well, who's spun it through the hairpin and retired, clearly killing the engine in the front of his BMW there, or at least doing it enough damage that he doesn't want to continue. Shame to see for the other Britain, no relation.
So that's Jim Britain out of the race. That's a bit, sorry, not Jim Britain, Clive Britain out of the race. Like Schilling coming off the bit worse there, going through. Oh, and he's lost it on the. Oh, that's a shame. Look at that. Off into the gravel on the right. That'll hurt his tyres.
That's where Hoffman ended up after his incident with Jim as well. That was definitely him spinning off to the left and then Hoffman diving into the pits. Obviously, Schilling not feeling like he needs to do the same here. And Hoffman now past Elio Fernandez.
So after all that action, let's just give you a quick rundown where we are. So De Grasse leads on lap 10 by 4 seconds from Havlicek. He's 10 seconds ahead of Conan, who's a little bit ahead of Haas, a couple of seconds between those two. Haas has got Arella right up behind him. From Bergs, McGee, the big gap then to Camaletto, Fillingham, Lecken. You're watching Cassell here. He's got Jim Britton just behind him. Simmons, Rizov, Schilling you just watched in the gravel as they come out of the chicane. Binnesley with damage, Magyar with damage, Wood, Hoffman with his pit stop completed. Fernandez, Hindle and Pelicano. Whether Hoffman can get that to the end of the race, yeah, maybe. No?
No, the guys have been talking all week in the Discord about the fact that if you're a little bit harsh on your tyres here, is that Haas going wide and Klohonen coming back through on him? I believe so. Or is that Pelicano having got out of the way? I believe that's Pelicano having got out of the way. Never mind. Yeah, the guys have been talking about the possibility of a 2-stop here. Like, you're going to have to be really kind on your tyres to make a 1-stop work. Or play around with some suspension settings or something to make that happen. So yeah, that would definitely be another stop for Hoffman, unless he is the kindest man on his tyres on this
So that's Schilling in for his stop after that excursion he had. So that's him in.
So he will be likely to stopping as well. Sadly, we haven't got information on how many pit stops each driver does. Elio Fernandez into the pits as well. It looks like he's actually spun there and kind of forced himself into the pit lane, by the looks of these skid marks behind him.
So you're watching Fillingham. That's Camaletto just in front of him. Jack Maker's up the field after all everybody else's struggles. Fabian Guide's in front of him. Big gap linked up to Bergsma, Arella, Haas, Cahonen, Pavlicek and De Grasse still out in front. Pavlicek keeping honest though, keeping that 3.5 seconds between them. De Grasse though looking to go back to the top of the championship with a win here.
Yeah, very much so. As we enter the scoring later this evening for this round, obviously pending any, that'll be unofficial, pending any stewarding stuff that goes on within the next week or so. On that scoring, the scratches will come into play because everybody gets a drop round, so that'll come into effect. So De Grasse are looking to get rid of the meagre 10 points he scored at Monza. Pavlicek having to score more than 81 points here today for the scoring to actually register him as having scored anything or to have gained anything from this evening's efforts. But obviously he has got a drop round later in the championship if he would like it, whereas now De Grasse is every race he must do as much as he can, because he had that bad one where he had the disconnect. He can't decide, oh, I can't be bothered to race today and drop that round. He's got to now race every single round. And that's exactly why we have that, is if you're lucky and everything goes to plan, you can have a night off one night. If you don't, then that's exactly why that's there. You've got to keep your nose to the grindstone and you've got to go out and you've got to win everything you can.
Yeah, you're dead right there.
These guys in the midfield really attacking the curbs. You've got Finnegan there, haven't you? Attacking the curbs, going up towards or just come out of the hairpin. Doesn't look like he's making much ground on that left, does it?
They put these windscreen numbers right in the way of the camera, which is really inconsiderate. It's great for left-handers, but not for right-handers.
If you press the home button on your keyboard.
As they go through Spoon, Jim just getting a little bit out of shape there, coming through there.
Yeah, Marty, if you press the home button on your keyboard, there you go. Much nicer view there.
It's a bit gamey though, that view, doesn't it?
No, that's actually a view that they use in DTM. It's actually a view that they use on telly. That's why you've got the thing there saying 62 and whoever that is. Can't actually read that on the little screen. I know what you mean, it does look a little bit gamey, but that is why they have those plates there.
That's Fillingham climbing all over the back of Camaletto. Cassell, Britton, Guide in the pits along with Simmons and Lecken.
Fernandez retired in the end as well after hitting the pit wall of not his own accord, from what I saw. Rizzoff in the pits as well. This is about the time where now you're starting to get really sketchy on doing the two-stopper. This is where theoretically you could make it go, but you're going to be running on the rims by the end of it if you're not well sorted on your tyre preservation.
So I'm guessing these guys are going to be struggling through as long as they can get to give themselves some tyres at the end, but if they're only going to last, what, 25 minutes, then this is the time when they are going to start to give out, I guess.
Well, they can do the distance. It's just you end up with like 5% on your fronts by the end of it. So it's not that they are. It's just that they're very close on tyre wear. And because we're not fueling in this one, you don't really want to hold on. What you want to do is you still want to get the undercut. You've just got to push it far enough that you know that the guy's coming in on the next lap, or maybe the lap after. But I think if you had any more than a 2-lap undercut, you'd be struggling, just because they clearly have a little bit of pace in their tyres. As Simon looks to the outside there, and Grasmos getting an amazing run through compared to Fillingham. Going to hound him all the way up this straight as we're looking from the back of Camaletto's car there for a bit. Coming down the straight here. Doesn't look like Grasmos is going to have anything on Fillingham here. It's a really tricky turn to pass in, very much one where you flick it in and just kind of then enjoy the dirty air all the way through the S's up towards Degner, and really your first passing opportunity in these cars will be the hairpin and then spoon.
Yeah, it's like you can swing it into turn 1 with all your traction control and ABS all sorted. These have got none of that. It's just a case of hanging on through turn 1. It's not there's no. It's got to be a very good move to make it through in turn 1 in these.
Yeah, absolutely. And realistically, if you got it close enough on the inside of turn 1 that you could actually get under somebody, you'd be struggling. As we actually see Fillingham making a mistake there through the second Degner, as Britain spearing off to driver's right, and Fillingham managed to keep it around the outside of the King, and therefore forcing Grasmos to the outside of the hairpin. And looks like Grasmos might have the run here a little bit through this kind of triple right-hander, but I doubt he'll be close enough for a run into Spoon. Yeah, it just leaves it alone for this lap, and probably look to set him up at the set him up again at the triangle. Britain there, as we said, saw him in the background spinning off after the Indegna 2, just got a wheel on the grass over the edge of the Astro and just looped it again. These cars, no traction control, no ABS, none of that rubbish to keep you alive, just your own instincts.
I'm not quite sure how Simon Fillingham managed to keep that together through 130 on the chicane, but he did, and keeps a position ahead of Cassell, but that's more through luck than judgment. On 2 wheels going through 130R, but still keeps it on the track.
Fillingham, another guy who, to be fair, has had a return to form of late, up in 8th. Obviously not enjoying the Porsche that he was running in the GT3 Championship. The RRLeagues GT3 Championship, Race Room GT3 Championship last set of seasons, back in October sort of time. But
we all remember that pain, don't we?
Yeah, he did say the other day when we released the Scirocco calendar about even an eternity at Bathurst isn't enough. So I just sent him the little clip of him spinning and waiting and reversing around on track. He said, "Bet this felt like eternity too, mate. Bet you enjoyed it."
We'll just jump ahead to the Cahonen Haas Arella battle. That's when you're watching there. That's Cahonen up front in that green car, Arella behind them, and then Bergsma behind Arella. So that's those three all chasing down 3rd place. Sorry. Cahonen, Haas and Arella, that's what we've got, and a gap back to Berg. That's my fault, sorry, I'm getting confused now. I'm sitting so far away from the screen, so we don't get any feedback. I can't see. Oh, I feel so old.
Oh, that's Max going into the pits. I thought he was just got a good old-fashioned cut back. If we just jump back to the thing with Cassell.
Also in the pits to Grass.
It's about the time that you want to make the pit stop, kind of as early as you can, while making sure you can still get to the end. And yes, Fillingham keeping it on for another lap. Corhonen and Haas both in the pits.
This time Cassell going 2 wheels through 130R. And they both go into the pits there. Fillingham and that, is that Camaletto ahead of them? Yeah. So
yeah, Camaletto ahead. Cassel sneaking through on Corhonen and Haas, still to make his pit stop, but we can see how much time they've lost there. And about 18 seconds between Corhonen and De Grasse, so that seems like pretty, it seems like status quo there. Fillingham in the pits as well. Fillingham with an issue in the pits, or just Dynamo catching him just getting away? I think it was catching him just getting away.
So Fillingham out. Let's look out for the, hopefully no speed in the pit lane this time. Looks like they're all clear so far.
I think I saw something pop up for Wood saying speeding in pit lane.
Oh, okay.
But I am not entirely sure. I haven't got a black flag for him, but I think I saw that pop up on the side of our screen.
Just further back in the field, that's Mark Schilling down in 16th after his exploits. Rizov behind him, Binnersley just behind these two. They're all battling for 16th, but up front, Pavlicek leads, still to make his stop. Arella second, still to make his stop. Bergsma still to make his stop in third. Then De Grasse effectively leads the race. Cassel in fifth, but again yet to stop. And he's got this battle here with Corhonen and Haas just behind them.
This could be really interesting because you've got Corhonen and Haas, who see Pavlicek has just finished his stop as well. So we've got Corhonen and Haas racing Arella, and Damien getting past Pavlicek again. Bergsma and Arella both in the pits. So Arella looking to come out ahead of Corhonen and Haas, and Cassel, who is just entering the pits, looking to make it out in front of Camaletto and Fillingham. That is a lot closer between the Intense teammates now, isn't it? As they're making their way through a bit of lap traffic there with Fabian Guide, is that?
That's Guide. That was Cassel just coming into the pits. Guide, Hoffman behind him, and Magyar.
Okay, so Arella is fed back out to behind Haas and Corhonen. That battle has fractured a little bit. Now a second between each of the protagonists. And Cassel making it through on Fillingham in the stop. Looks like Fillingham had a bit of an incident at some point around the lap. And Cassel about the same distance to Camaletto as he was when he came out. So a bit of a slow lap from Fillingham on the old outlap.
We're on board with Hoffman. Don't forget, Hoffman was his early stop after that, coming together with Jim Britton. So it's a good chance, if Ethan says there's a guaranteed chance, that he's going to have to stop again for some more tyres.
Yes, very much so. So we expect him out of 8th and down towards. The good news is by the time he gets into the pits, the battles will be broken up a little, even more than they are now. So he probably won't come out that far down. I wouldn't expect to see him much past 14th, 15th position.
Which just happens to be where Jim Britton is. After the pit stops are shaken out, De Grasse leads, Pavlicek, Corhonen third, Haas fourth, Arella fifth. Corhonen, Haas and Arella about half a second between each, greater than they were when they went into the pits. About 2 seconds between each of them. That was a bit closer than that before, as Guide just jumps the chicane there.
That was contact. That was just door-on-door contact. Just Fillingham all over the back of Cassel, trying to make up that position that he lost in the pit stops.
I said you couldn't make a move into turn one, but we're...
I told you couldn't make a move into turn one. Well, you shouldn't.
Better play to Tobias Hoffman, driving like an absolute demon today, but how he managed to stop that becoming an airplane accident, I've no idea. It was air ambulance was standing by for that one. But both of them live to fight another day as they go up through the S's. Hoffman really on a charge after that incident earlier.
He knows he's just got to put in the best laps he can. He's got to drive everything like a qualifying lap. He's probably got that 20-second or so pit stop left to make. Just got to put in every effort he can to get ahead of Fabian Guide here if he's quicker, or if not, he might just want to sit behind him, selling him the dummy up into the hairpin though. Running out a little bit wide, Guide touching him. Just crossing lines there a little bit, but Hoffman out ahead now, and Guide will want this position back. but it does look like Hoffman is just a little bit quicker at this stage of the race. Oh, and they touch going into Spoon. Thankfully, neither of them spinning out from it. And Hoffman again, a little touch as they go through the second part of Spoon. But Hoffman managing to keep that advantage, which now he should carry all the way down to 130R. But Geed will be in the slipstream. These cars got a lot of aero on them. Big old pull in the slipstream. And this is how we saw Britain get past Hoffman earlier. So we know Hoffman is not afraid to keep it here going into the triangle, and Geed, discretion the better part of Valor, backs out of it on that lap.
It's like Tobias's car is covered in honey because they all just want to get a piece of it, don't they? They are all over him. He's obviously got pace, but whether they're using their push to passes or their DRSs at the right time, you can see there Hoffman covering the inside line, making sure Geed got none of that and pushes Geed wide. Fair race in that. I think Geed was certainly trying his luck there, but Hoffman giving him nothing down the straight, making sure there was no gap between him and the wall to give Geed the inside line. So that's fair, and that should just give Hoffman now half a second gap on Geed just to pull away a bit. I think Geed used up all his DRS and pushed a pass in that last effort.
No, Geed is still on 3 DRSs for the lap and 1 push to pass. Just a reminder, 3 DRSs for the lap means that if you only get a certain amount, but you're allowed to use up to 3 a lap. If you use 1, you better use all of them because they get rid of them at the end of the lap if you use even 1. So yeah, no DRS or push to pass from either of them so far this lap. However, they might have used it onto the start-finish rate, which obviously wouldn't count. You see Schilling staying out. No, I'm looking at someone else.
So if Hoffman can just get away from Geed here, he's got a nice clear track ahead of him then to Bergsma. That's 10 seconds up the road. That should give him a little bit of a chance to pull out a little bit of time that he's going to need for that extra stop he's guaranteed he's going to have to make for some new boots, because these ones are not going to last. We've got 20 minutes to go on the clock. I imagine about 10 minutes to go he'll be in.
Yeah, about then. Depends how he wants to split it up. But he can come in at any point now. It will suit him to go as long into the race as possible. Or rather to find that crossover point where everybody else's tyres have gone off and he can put some fresh boots on. He wants to ideally actually pull the trigger.
And having said that, there he goes into the pits for his last stop, but he will have very fresh tyres come into the race. The others will not necessarily be struggling, but they'll have their hands full, but Hoffman will be flying around. So that's Hoffman into the pits.
Just going to keep an eye on where our registered crew chief is, P14. So Hoffman in the pits, looks like Jim just coming down, and he's well ahead of him. That's going to be a big old gap between the two by the time Tobias makes it up to speed, about 15 seconds or so.
Looks like Pelicano's out the race now as well, so that's another DNF we're going to have there.
Yeah, that BMW has hit the barrier hard on the outside of 130R by the looks of it. Yeah, on the outside of 130R, that hit the barrier hard, and looking very much like the new M4 with that snub nose grille. He really should remove that car from the track. But still there at the moment. Camaletto all over the back of Simmons. He's been working on this for a little while now. Yeah, gets up the inside of the long right-hander and takes it into Spoon. He's been working on that one for a while, like I say. And I imagine that with a move up into the hairpin consolidated down the back straight. See Pelicano. No, Pelicano's still stationary.
So that's Camaletto up into 9th position, past Simmons, goes back to 10th. Caselli 11th, Fillingham 12th, Britton 13th, Schilling 14th, Rizov 15th. In fact, yeah, Hoffman down in 17th, fighting with Rizov and Binnersley. Let's just go have a quick look, because that's going to be a good fight to watch, I should imagine, with Tobias on new tyres, now up to temperature.
Apparently Pelicano suffering a disconnect. Which wouldn't explain why his car is still there, but there we go. Hoffman popped out of the slipstream a bit early there by the looks of it. Gonna have to sit behind Binsley, who's going to have a go on Rizov here. Again, nothing really doing into that first corner, as Hoffman will tell you.
Just sit behind each other through the S's and hopefully get a good drive as they go up to the Degners.
Arella all over the back of Haas. Haas has done Tom a solid here, because we often see Tom and Ralph having a little bit of argy-bargy, but having a go at each other over those last podium positions. And actually Haas today managing to hold Arella up to 5 seconds behind Corhonen now, so no chance for Ralph to come back from this one. But Ralph very much looking to get past his compatriot and up another position on the leaderboard.
So if you're watching, you'd have seen Tobias get through past Binnersley. You can see him up again having a look at Rizov this time, going to 130R.
Ooh, big old twitch there from Rizov, as it looked like Tobias just nibbled him through 130R. And big old lunge from Tobias into the final chicane. Binnersley getting stacked up behind Rizov, and that looks like Hoffman off to fight another day. Geed him for another stop, as we probably surmised. He was one of the early stoppers as well.
I've got to say, I'm really impressed with Tobias Hoffman's driving today. Some of the moves he's made and the actual racecraft has been fantastic. Obviously got a bit lucky with Jim Britton earlier through the Degners when he went off there, but no, it wasn't a chicane, wasn't it? They touched.
Yeah.
But apart from that, he has been absolutely on fire today. Not had much luck, but certainly a great watch.
Absolutely. He got mentioned in the service report last time, got a plus 20-second penalty for a bump and run on Metcalf. So we'll just have to hope that he doesn't get that again, otherwise he will be losing some significant positions in this race.
I think it would be a bit unfair if he did, because I think a lot of those moves he's made today have been like spot on. I don't think there's anything he's done today that's anything other than really hard racing, and very fair as well, I've got to say.
Yeah, it's been very good racing from him today. I'm just, like I say, hoping that none of the stewards take a dim view on it. Obviously we haven't seen every single pass he's made, but obviously learning his lesson a little bit from 2 weeks out.
The field pretty much spread out now. You've got De Grasse, Pavlicek, Corhonen, Hassan, Arella here you're watching. A big gap back to Bergsma, Lecken, Camiletto you saw past Simmons. He's now a couple of seconds ahead of Simmons as he chases down Lecken. Fillingham in 10th, Cassell right behind him. They're pretty close together. 10 seconds back to Britton, Hoffman, Binnersley, Geed, Wood, Rizov, Schilling, who you saw going to the pits, Magyar. It looks like Hendel's called it a day as well. So it's another DNF. We're down to 19 now.
No, Hindle just pitting.
Oh, just into the pits, is he? Oh, I thought that was
it. For another tyres.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, Schilling and Hindle in the same coloured car because they are teammates. You saw Hindle go into the pits, not Schilling. Schilling is still out on track behind Rizov.
Ah, that makes sense then. So yeah, Hindle back out now on fresh set of tyres. Should be able to drive that a little bit easier now. These will lose a lot of grip when they're down to the 5-10% on the rubber.
And Arella looking towards the back of Haas again, just backing out of it towards 130R and through the chicane.
Very respectful through 130R there, backed out very early, so he wasn't going to put Max under any kind of decision-making process.
And this is what I've been saying for the past, 6 months now? Is Ralph is very much loved within the RRLeagues community, clearly a very, very fast driver and very, very respectful of everybody around him. If he just had some teeth to him, he might do just a little bit better than he is. I think he's obviously one of the old guard at RR League and very much used to the kind of very gentlemanly driving that we tout. And some of these new guys, faster guys coming in, are not so keen on that. As we see Lecken in the pits as well for a new set of boots. Filling them all over the back of Simmons through turn 1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph obviously enjoys driving like this, but like you said, it's not his performance-wise. He could do a lot better if he was more aggressive, but that's just not the kind of guy he is. He prefers the nice, clean, fair racing, which is absolutely promoted here. But I'm not saying it's to his detriment, because he's obviously well liked within the community. But I think if you had Ralph's speed and you saw Ralph Varela behind you, you'd know where to place the car to make sure you keep the position, and that's no detriment to Ralph. That's just, you know, that's just racing, I guess.
Yeah, and it is good that he is like that, because he is one of the faster guys, and there's some guys, there's not so many these days, but we used to have a couple who were fast guys. You'd see them come up, especially in those like reverse grid races. You see them behind you and you think, great, yeah, I'm just going to get punted out of the way, this is going to be amazing. I'm almost not going to bother. Whereas Ralph, you know, if he gets stuck in the back of the grid because of a issue or because of reverse quali or whatever the reason be, you know he's going to fight you just as fair for 20th as he is for first. Because we've got a bit of a 3 wide situation going on the outside, the exit of the hairpin there, between Bindesley, Keith and Lecken, all of them very close. We've got Simmons, Fillingham Castle, which I believe is about you're watching down from 130R. And up into the chicane. Whoa. Very wide there, and that's going to invite Simmons. Who's that invited? That's invited over your status quo. Everybody having equally bad run there through 130R.
That was certainly a code brown there for Andy Simmons through 130R. Wow.
Between the 3 of them, they nearly had 4 tyres on the circuit through there, didn't they? Nearly had a full complement on the ground.
So Simmons carries on to fight. He's got Fillingham and Cassell behind him. This should be entertaining watching these 3 for a little while.
What will also be entertaining is you've got that Bindesley Locken battle still, and then Britton and Hoffman have found each other on track, much as we predicted for about P11. Hopefully this one will be a little bit cleaner from the pair of them, but Hoffman, I can't imagine will be allowing Britain much room.
Hoffman on the fresh boots as well, don't forget. Jim will be feeling the weight of his car by now.
And Arella again had an amazing run on Haas, got up to the quarter panel and just backed well out of it through 130R. I suspect we will not see the same in a few seconds from the Cassell Fillingham battle. I don't think there'll be much backing out going on there.
That was quite gentleman there from Jim. I just wonder if you realise what happened in the first part of the race and just let Tobias have the hairpin there, because there's certainly no fight put up there from Jim. So that might be a little bit of an apology for what happened early in the race. But Tobias Hoffman through now up into 11th. He'll be chasing down Cassell, Fillingham and Simmons in that battle, but they're like 9 seconds up the road, so chances of them catching him, even with his pace, unlikely, as Britain goes 2 wheels into 130R. Back with the Simmons battle, that's Fillingham just behind him, and Gerasimos Cassell almost inside Simon's boot.
He's a BMW, he's an Audi driver, he's supposed to be there. And in fairness to Cassell, like, Simon forgot to indicate, so...
They got indicate. No, it's an old joke, can't use it.
Well, they're BMWs, they've never had indicators.
I've got to be careful, a lot of my customers are driving those at the moment. Not these M4s, but, you know...
Cassell just backing out of it again, out of the deck, kind of getting a bit of an overlap on Fillingham, but realising that he wasn't going to be able to hold it up the inside of the King. And these guys very much status quo, starting to kind of hit that barrier that goes on with these sort of aero cars. Cassell's used his push to pass this lap, so he will fade towards the end of the lap, but Simmons and Fillingham both got theirs in the bag. Nobody using any DRS this lap, so imagine we'll see Fillingham flicking on the push to pass through here. Simmons using DRS, that's interesting. That's not where I want to be using it, considering now he's used one, he'll use all three for the lap. Fillingham will be getting a lovely toe. Simmons using his push to pass as well. Fillingham overstepping the mark. Cassell looking to the outside, making the move stick and wobbling on exit there. Fillingham surely going to use using his DRS from all of them at the moment, and Fillingham using that push to pass just to give him that extra few K an hour to get ahead.
Great driving from both of those two there. I thought Casella had that nailed, and see Fillingham come back like that was fantastic driving. I honestly thought Casella had made the move of the day there.
It's just these tyres going off. The front's going off, the rear's going off, very squarely coming out of there, getting on the power as early as you can. And obviously just lighten them up a little bit and showing Fillingham the door.
So just to give you a bit of a rundown, De Grasse up front 7 seconds ahead of teammate Pavlicek. Kohonen having his stroll round Suzuka today, he's 22 seconds back down from Pavlicek. Then we've got Max Haas and Arella half a second behind Max. Bergsma having a race on his own really, on 10 seconds behind Arella. Camaletto, Fillingham, Cassell, you're watching here. Hoffman back in 10th. Closney's got, remember that was an 8-second gap, it's now 2.7. So he'll soon be on the back of Gerasimos Cassell. That'll be interesting to watch. And
Simmons had an incident because Simmons was the head of that one, and now he's dropped all the way back down to 12th.
Yeah, it looks like Andy's struggling with tyres there by the looks of it, because Jim Britton's just got past him. Geed, Lecken, who's that with the yellow flag? Oh, looks like that was Mr. Binnersley.
Big issues for Simmons. He's just gone straight at Spoon. Now stuck in the gravel. You're just going to have a bugger to turn it around from there. Whether that was... initially I thought that was a...
It doesn't want to turn, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think that's steering damage, because it just went straight on. I imagine that sounds like it's... or looks like that was just a sheer lock-up from not having enough rubber left on the tyres.
We are down to the last 4 minutes.
He's living some big old 11s there as he's trying to get back on circuit.
That's a killer after doing 50 minutes in these cars to find yourself in that situation, struggling to get out the gravel. That's hard work.
Yeah, that car has got a puncture. I can't tell what tyre it is.
Looks like it's is it the right rear? The way it was crabbing there, and that's probably why he went off into the gravel. I wonder, he just lost the ability to steer, and then
it's something we've had since the flat spotting things got added in 2 years, or not December just gone, but the December before. Yeah, it definitely looks right rear, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a 235i in the gravel before. As soon as you get a puncture, it just beaches the car. No matter what the ride height is of the car, you just can't get it moved, unfortunately. And that's, I think, what Andy Simmons was struggling with there.
Clearly these cars have got enough torque to dig them out. But
that's not Max Haas, by the way. That is Andy Simmons. You can see still trying to get that car round.
Once you get a flat spot, it's actually relatively easy in this game to lock it again and get a puncture out of it. So I imagine that's what's happened down into Spoon there. I imagine he's had a bit of a spin on the worn tyres, flat spotted a tyre somewhere, and then as he's done heavy braking into Spoon, it's just got let go on him and he's sent it straight off of the barrier.
What a place to go. It's better than 130R, I suppose, but if the two places you don't want to lose it is in either of those two places. So
he's got a lot of runoff at Spoon, and looks like it just looks like he's struggling with deep sand.
So Hasnarella still battling. As much as I want to stay with them as close as they are, that discussion we've had about Ralph earlier, I don't know if that's going to change in the next couple of minutes. We'll go and have a look at Finnegan and Cassell again. Those two are still close together, and you can see just behind them Tobias Hoffman, who was 8 seconds behind, is now 8/10 of a second behind. And he's going to look for 8th position here. He's got, what, 2 laps to go? Maybe 3? Probably 2.
2 laps. DeGrasse is just coming into... I can't actually tell where that is from there. Turn 1 by the looks of it.
So it's a 149 lap. So, yeah, it looks like it could be close, but I think it's going to be...
This will be DeGrasse's final lap.
So they'll have this and one more. So we've seen how Hoffman likes to go into the hairpin. So he's lost that one for this lap. That'll be for next time. These two will be struggling with tyres up ahead of him. Hoffman on what is relatively new tyres.
Cassell has used his push to pass there at some point to probably down towards turn 1 to keep himself ahead. Filling all out of DRS for this lap, so relying on that push to pass will get probably out of the first turn.
Hoffman's still got one.
Well, looking through up into the chicane here, as you see Cassell going all over every curb and trying to make a pass on Fillingham and defend from Hoffman all at the same time. Keeps Hoffman behind for now. Fillingham using his push to pass out of there. So these two behind Fillingham have got some DRS remaining. Fillingham's didn't click up as he went over the course of the lap, so it looks like Fillingham and Hoffman all out of DRSs for the race.
Fillingham wide there, he's gone off. Hoffman's gone through on Cassell, so all change on the final lap. Hoffman through up into 8th. I said he'd be looking for 8th and he's got it. Not quite the way I thought he would do, but he's through. Banging doors with Cassell through turn 2. Fillingham went wide there through turn 1 and 2 complex, and he's down to 10th now. Up front, look at that.
Through on pass.
Damien DeGrasse wins. He let Pavlicek come back at the end there by just a couple of seconds. Kohonen there in 3rd. I said Arella wouldn't get past Max. What an idiot I was. Because there he is. Great bit of racing there from Ralph. We take it all back, sir. And he's going to come home in 4th. From Max. Great race, Ralph. You can stab me in the back later, mate. It's fine. I'll take it. Ralph comes through for 4th. Max 5th. Bergsma just coming through the chicane and down the straight there for a rather solitary 5th position, 6th position, sorry. Didn't really see much of anything today, but kept it straight, kept it true. Some good luck and a solid race there from Andre for a change. Camaletto's got Hoffman now bearing down on him as he come round the final 2 corners.
You might actually do this.
I'm going to say, Jack won't know what's been going on earlier in the lap, or in the race rather, but he will not want to see that bearing down on him at the end. But it looks like he's going to keep it through there.
Yeah, Camaletto's got a DRS and Hoffman has a push to pass.
Fair play for Hoffman not making a dive. He could have, after the race he's had, he could have made a dive into the chicane there, but didn't. So an interesting race there from Tobias Hoffman, finishing 8th. Camaletto there 7th. Cassell finished 9th with Fillingham. Those two close together virtually all race. Gee comes home in 11th from Lecken in 12th. Binnersy's 13th. He's just about to come and finish through there. Not quite the finish he had yesterday, but that BMW looking a little bit banged up there as he comes through. So Binnersy's through for 13th, and then I think the others will be lapped and done. That's
Britain just coming through.
Britain through. And that's it. There we go. So a win and a pole position for Damien DeGrasse. That'll take him back to the top of the championship. Teammate Pavlicek in 2nd. That's pretty much, I'm not saying that's got the team championship sealed, but if they carry on driving like that, it won't be long. Kohonen in 3rd, Arella 4th, Haas 5th, Bergsma down in 6th, well, I say down in 6th, up in 6th, considering the luck he's had so far in this championship. Jack Camaletto there in 7th from Tobias Hoffman. Great drive from Tobias today after that incident earlier in the race with Jim Britton. Cassell 9th, Fillingham 10th, Geed 11th, Lecken 12th, Binnersey 13th, where are we? Jim Britton 14th, Nigel Wood.
Wood, Schilling, Rizzoff, Magyar, Hindle and Simmons all laps down.
Thanks, man.
Finished the runners.
So there we go. Apologies for the audio issues we've had today. I don't know why that's happened, but there you go. Race room is finished. Let's go and jump into Discord, see what we've got going on in there.
While we get Discord up, I will just remind everybody that we've got other series going on. We've got Scirocco Group 2 cars starting on the 17th of March. Obviously, we've got the DTM ongoing. There's an ACC League, GT3 League ongoing as well. That is the alternate Sunday to this one, isn't it? And yeah, Scirocco's will be weekly racing on the Wednesdays. So 3 championships going on at the moment. And we've got a race club event, haven't we? Anybody can show up.
Yeah,
it's
really
on
looking forward
Race
to
App.
actually.
Yeah, it's on Race App. So if you want to have a look and see what we're offering, have a look. It's an hour and a half of Donington in ACC and GT3 cars, I believe, isn't it? No, it's not. It's multi-class.
GT3 and GT4, and there's a mixed spread of them all. We've got about 10 in each so far, and I think there's another 4 or 5 places left. So, as Ethan said, if you want to come and join us, please jump into Race App. No stewarding, no worries, no problems about it. Just jump in. A nice free-for-all race. Fair as always, but nothing to play for apart from pride and a bit of fun. So, yeah, come and join us.
Yeah, absolutely, and very much something we are aware that we neglected last month after really finishing off strongly with it in 2020, but looking to very much bring back Race Club into the ongoing next few weeks and months.
I think though the 6 week, like the Porsche Championship, and obviously we've got the Scirocco Championship coming up as well. I think those quick fire weekly races are a great addition to what we've been offering in the past. And yeah, Race Club has taken a step back while we've done that, but yeah, if we can introduce that and mix it with anything else, it just shows you what a mixed, varied calendar we've got coming up.
I guess the thing that we've kind of looked at in the staff room is, well, obviously what we did at the end of last year was we had the Green Hell thing going on a Sunday every third, like the second Sunday of every month or something like that, wasn't it? Well, no, it was the first Sunday of every month.
Yeah, I miss that, mate. I miss that so much.
We had a Sunday free, which is one of our usual race days. We had a Sunday free every single month where we could go racing. And we don't have that anymore because that championship is finished. And all of our other normal slots are taken up. And Saturday nights are RWB nights, where we've got a lot of guys competing over there, repping RRLeagues and repping their various teams. And realistically, we know that RWB do an amazing job, and we're not going to steal people off of them. We're not going to. They've got a championship to fight for. People aren't going to come and do one-off events here on a Saturday night, which is fair enough. Variety of spice of life and all that. So very much looking at a way that we can get Race Club a little bit more cemented. But we've got 4 weeks off at the moment, 4 Wednesdays off between the Porsche Cup, which finished last week. Or was it the week before? Week before, maybe.
Yeah, because I had a Wednesday off from commentating, which is probably why everything's not working today, because it's not. Thought it was getting ignored for a while, but had a Wednesday off, back in today. But yeah, the Scirocco start again in a couple of weeks' time, and if you're not driven those things, what a hoot they're going to be to watch and commentate on. I'm not quite sure if I'm driving or commentating. I haven't made that decision just yet.
They're good fun. They're not very heavy. What are they, about 900 kilos? So something like that. So
900 kilos of wafer thin pig iron.
Yeah. You don't feel very safe in them, but it's a 70s hot hatch, so you're not supposed to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fortunately, this is where sim racing comes into its own, because you can throw these around without fear of death, which probably wasn't something they could have agreed 20 years ago.
850 kilos with the driver in it, 855 kilos. So what's that? That's realistically people weigh about 80 kilos.
Do you know what? I just realised how old I am. I said 20 years ago. It's 40 years ago. I remember when I was a kid seeing those Siroccos going around. Wow, that's made me feel really old.
The 70s are a long way away now, boy. 1.6 litre inline 4 engines, so plenty of poke from them, nearly 180 horsepower. Front wheel drive should be. I tell you what, it's what RRLeagues do well. good old-fashioned touring car beating and banging racing, but without so much of the beating and banging and pushing around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure these will be chucked around quite well, but whether the I've not raced them in any kind of competitive environment to know how strong or how much of a bashing they'll take. I mean, you've seen today these DTM cars can take a bit of rubbing as they go. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with the Siroccos, but we'll see. We'll see.
The Scirocco should be fine. I'm just not looking forward to round 6.
The big long chase up through Bathurst, isn't it?
It is round 6 will be at Bathurst. That'll be.
Can you imagine that going down the straight, man? They're 6 wide for about half an hour. It'd be fantastic.
We'll all be here like rocking, like, come on, you get up the hill.
You can light a fag at the top of the straight and blow it out by the time you get to the end.
It's plenty of time to roll down the window, lean whatever hand you want out to your competitors, shake their hand, obviously. No rude gestures or anything like that. Definitely not.
You couldn't get Paul Ricard on the calendar, no? The race room ain't got Paul Ricard, has it?
Yeah, we got Paul Ricard. We're using the 3C layout, not the one with the massive back straight. But yeah, we are actually going to Paul Ricard.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I was just ingesting there, but that you are actually going to Paul Ricard, and wow, okay.
Yeah, just it's the smallest circuit Paul Ricard has. It's not a long one at all. But yeah, we are going to Paul Ricard.
Yeah, just the national circuits. I think, apart from that last race there in Australia, it's just the last like the little national circuits. I think, like the Brands Hatch Indy course and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Portimao Club Chicane is kind of the full one, but with a couple of bits chopped off. It's not got a proper national sort of small layout as such. Just kind of a couple of turns have been truncated. Paul Ricard 3C is the short one. Brands Hatch Indy. We're going to the NASCAR version of Watkins Glen, the short one with the bus stop, and then Zandvoort National, and then obviously Bathurst to finish it off. Should be a laugh.
Yeah, Zandvoort National is quite a crease actually. I don't mind it because you don't get involved in that stuff at the back of the circuit, but it's still actually pretty good fun.
Yeah, it's just takes out the kind of
the dunes and that, isn't it, around the back end?
Yeah, the really, really fast corner that everybody hates, and then the fiddly little bit before you get to that chicane. Still got to do the chicane, but yeah, very much takes out the kind of the nasty bit at the back end of the circuit. And as we can see here, should we go back to the racing that we were talking about? Like we can see here, Tom saying 5% on both fronts when they cross the line, 2% left on front when they pitted. Just everybody having massive tyre issues. It just crazy levels of tyre wear going on. And this was actually the first track, I believe they were saying, where they were really, really front limited. Obviously, these big old DTM cars, 600 brake, roughly a small moon worth of torque. Often we have issues with the rears, and that's why you see the cars squirming out of every acceleration zone, which is fantastic to see and very, very scary for the drivers. But this one being a real tyre killer on the fronts as well.
It's more of a sweeping track, Suzuka. You haven't got that stop-start like, say, we had at Motegi last week, where you're into a corner, hairpin, down a straight, into a corner, hairpin. This is a lot more flowing, and that's probably why, as you said, why they've really struggled with their front tyres here.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a way, it's nicer, apparently, because now you've actually got wear both ends of the car. So it's relatively balanced. It's obviously then you've just got to work out how it works, balance left to right, which is probably what people were struggling with here, the same more than anything else.
So, on to round 5, halfway through the championship. Where do we go to next, mate? I'm going to drop you in it now.
Where do we go to next? Thanks for dropping me in it. I don't actually know off the top of my head.
I thought you'd know. That's why I dropped you in it, to make you look clever, mate.
Yeah.
I've got so many different windows open here. I can't open another one. Oh, okay.
So another flowing track. That'll be interesting. 2 big straights where you want to use your DRSs and your push to passes. We obviously didn't talk about it so much today because we were indisposed. Actually, we can see Clive has got the thing up now for we've been prattling on so long. And see where everybody stands in the championship.
I'll let you do that while we just so as we were talking about earlier, 2 weeks time we're in Sepang with the DTM cars. But on Wednesday, come and join us in the race club event at Donington. That'll start about 7, half 7. Daytime race. No, we've turned the rain. Well, tried to turn the rain off as best we can. There is a little bit of randomness in there, but should be a dry race. Mixed classes. So come and join us for that. And then next Sunday is the
ATC GT3 League.
Yes, thank you. And that one is at Paul Ricard as well. So not a race I'm personally looking forward to, but if I can keep the AMG pointing one direction, that'd be happy days. I think it's done all right so far in the championship. So long may that continue.
Yeah, so without taking into account drop scores, because I was wrong, they come into effect after we put them in for Sepang, because then you've completed over 50% of the championship. So everything will change then. But we've got Pavlicek, Korhonen, de Grasse, Arella, and Haas top 5 at the moment in the championship, with Camaletto, Bergsma, Gide, Smedegaard, and Magyar rounding out the top 10. This is all pending stewards report for this round, obviously. So we might see. I don't think any of them got involved in any major incidents that we saw. So probably nothing going on there in terms of issues.
That looked to be a good, hard, fast race today, to be honest. What we saw of it, enjoyable watching. I know probably the guys on the stream probably saw a bit more of it than I did because I had different windows open, but it looked to be a nice, clean, fast, and enjoyable, especially enjoyable to watch. So hopefully you got a bit of enjoyment out of it. But it looks like the drivers had a lot of fun around there as well. So fair play to everyone.
Yeah, and just Vivid Racing, TSR Sweden, and 77 top 3 in the teams championship, staying as it was going into the round.
Nothing left for us to do now, apart from to wish you all a very happy February, March, whatever we've got coming up soon. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for putting up with us earlier on. We didn't have any sound and had sound issues, so we do appreciate that as always. Ethan, thanks for carrying me through the stream, mate. Well, you did. Always good to have you along, mate. And yeah, I'll let you sign it off, mate, as you signed us in.
Yeah, just thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. If you do want to join us, obviously hop in the Discord, hop in the forum, have a chat. Even if you just want to have a chat about racing and don't want to do any, we're more than happy to have you. And we will see you for commentary in 2 weeks' time.